This is going to be a very interesting conversation today. And what we're going to be talking about today is Masonry. But the unique thing about this particular conversation, we're going to be talking about other rites and ceremonies. We're going to talk about other rites and ceremonies. And that's because you know as well as I know that most of the time, if not a lot of times, people don't talk about those other what we call craft degrees, French Rite or Scottish Rite. All we talk about is American style of Freemasonry. Most Masons never ever leave their Masonic jurisdiction and go beyond 20 or 30 miles. 98% of your Masons are only going to travel within their state. They may go to a conference. They may go maybe into another state, but they're not going to travel outside of the United States. They're not going to do it. Most Masons won't do it. Most Masons are okay being where they're at, and there's absolutely nothing wrong with that. However, how can you tell me Freemasonry or what it is to be a Mason? You never traveled anywhere. You've only been here in the United States. You have not applied any of the interworkings of Freemasonry to see for yourself. You've only dealt in American style of Freemason. This is all you've ever done, but you tell someone else all about Masonry. You can tell them all about the history. You can do all of that, but this is all you got to offer? Nah, it's more to it than that. You know, you have so many other degrees and rites and ceremonies there till it's just unreal. Most of us don't get to really enjoy Masonry. You really don't. Most of us are just okay going to our lodge meetings. Most of us are just okay going to our General Grand Masonic Congress meeting. Most of us are okay going to Grand Session. Most of us are okay going to our Masonic conferences, midwinter conferences, and in United Supreme Council session. We are okay with that. We fit right into that narrative. But it's bigger than that. I don't understand why people don't understand that it's bigger than that. Why can't you see it? Why can't you grab hold to it and know that it's bigger than that? I find it very difficult at times to talk to individuals or brothers regarding Freemasonry, and all you want to talk about is here in the United States. That's all you got. You have no other experience other than this. I'm like, do I really want to have a conversation with you? If this is all you got, and this is all you want to know, then you are limited. You are limited in the acquisition of what it is to be a Mason. You are limited. And I don't care what jurisdiction you're in, but there's a lot of folks out there like to talk about Freemasonry, and you never even done nothing other than your own state. You prefer to call someone else and say that you're not a Mason, but you haven't done anything. You haven't done anything with your travels. This is it. This is all you got. So what I try to do is to employ. I try to get those who want to enjoy Masonry, come and go. Let's go. You want to travel. You want to see this. Let's go. Let's do it. Because we won't. Now, granted, there's quite a few of us who have been in the military. We have had the experience, and we may have even visited some of the lodges as we travel in the military. But try doing that on your own dime. Do that on your own dime. When someone sends you an invite from other countries, try going on your own dime. Try to say, okay, I'm coming to visit you, my brother. And then you go. Most of us would never have that experience because most of us are too afraid, number one. And most of us allow other people to put us in a box. You're not in a box. I have just recently been doing some real in-depth study into the ancient accepted Scottish Rite Freemasonry. I've been doing my own study in regards to how does that transition when you talk about Black Masonry. So here's what I do know. Not what I think, not what I believe. Here's what I do know. I do know that most, if not all, ancient, free, and accepted Masons, Black Masons, call themselves Scottish Rite. A lot of them do. That's a fact. When you say ancient, free, and accepted Masons amongst African American Masons, those Black Masons, a lot of them say I'm Scottish Rite. You're not Scottish Rite. You practice an American style of Freemasonry through web, ritualistic ceremonies. That's what we all, that's including me too. I'm not escaping this. I'm saying this is what's been handed to you. So this is what you say. So legend has it, it hadn't been really proven, in regards to the ancient accepted Scottish Rite. This is what we have been calling ourselves. And I often wondered, why were Black Masons calling themselves ancient, free, and accepted Scottish Rite Freemasons? I used to wonder that. So what I started doing was, going into the Supreme Council archives, my Supreme Council, that I'm part of. I started going to the Grand Lodge archives and pulling out and just looking and trying to see, where did this narrative come from? And I'm going to share with you what I found. I found that the narrative comes from the fact that John G. Jones practiced Cernoism. You may be, what is Cernoism? John G. Jones, if you are a part of that fraction of Freemasonry, I say that fraction because Black Masonry, there are multiple jurisdictions, there are multiple Grand Lodges, there are from PHO to PHA to modern free to international to ancient free and accepted Masons, or some may say John G. Jones affiliation, however you want to label that. But with that being said, I'm particularly speaking in regards to John G. Jones. And I say that because what I have found is that he practiced Cernoism. And I've said this before, but not only did I find out that that's what he was practicing, the mere fact that he chartered a lodge in Florida, the mere fact that he himself, in his own writings, this is not me, in his own writings says that as a Supreme Council, that the Supreme Council has the authority to organize lodges and to charter Grand Lodges. That's what he said. The only organization that actually does that type of structure, is a Supreme Council that practiced the Scottish Rite. You're like, what? What? No, the only Supreme Council that has that structure is a Supreme Council that practiced craft degrees, which are different than your American rites in degrees. Craft degrees go from 1 all the way up to 33. Most of us practice web style of Freemasonry to where you have inner apprentice, fellow craft, master mason. All right. And then you choose to go the York Rite, or maybe you may go the Scottish Rite. Those are pending bodies. But usually you go York Rite because that's the climax of the Master Mason degree, because in that degree work of the Royal Arch, the the Super Excellent Master, and all of that stuff, they said, look, in the Master Mason degree work, you get a substitute word. When you become a Royal Arch Mason, you're supposed to get what they call the real word, or the word that was lost. But when you practice Scottish Rite, when you get into the endeavor of Scottish Rite, man, that's a whole nother thing. The passwords are different. The way you move about is different. The structure and setup of the lodge is different. But somewhere along the line, that was lost. I don't know when, but I do know that it was lost in transaction. This is something else I know. Many of times we've talked about the 5 supreme councils, supposed had merged and did all of these things. I found in my documents in the Supreme Council archives that the Supreme Council for the Southern and Western Masonic jurisdiction, you never merged. You never merged with those 5. You sustained. You backed out of the merger. So I know people talk about King Frederick's Supreme Council, the 5 came together, da da da. No, the Supreme Council for the Southern and Western Masonic jurisdiction, Washington, D.C., you withdrew. And I have documents to prove that. And I've sent this out to a few people who requested it. I sent them the documents to show them that. And I'm like, man, so what was going on at this time? What I've learned in my travels, what I've learned as I've done my own personal, for me, I did this for me and I'm sharing it with you, is that we who are ancient, free, and accepting Masons, the original structure for you was supposed to be Scottish Rite. I'm going to say that again. The original structure for the Southern and Western Masonic jurisdiction, you know how we like to say that. You were supposed to be Scottish Rite. Absolutely. And let me tell you why. I'm going to add some more flavor to you. Is that in 1903, this is documented. This is not something I just pull out my ass. This is documented in 1903. I want to say 1902, 1903. Jones being the Sovereign Grand Commander. It's a fact that he went over to Romania. They in turn, the 2 Supreme Councils, in turn had Masonic relationship, meaning that they had Masonic treaty, meaning that they exchanged dignitaries. I'm gonna say this again. In 1902, 1903, the Supreme Council of Romania, Ancient Accepted Scottish Rite Freemasons, in the Supreme Council for the Southern and Western Masonic jurisdiction, Ancient Accepted Scottish Rite Freemasons, in turn had a Masonic recognition, and they then swapped over dignitaries. They exchanged dignitaries. This is documented. And people like to talk, well, no. This is actually documented. So I was like, okay. So as I began to go down this little rabbit hole and I'm pulling up all these documents, I'm like, hold on. So John G. Jones actually practiced Cernoism. John G. Jones also had a relationship with the Supreme Council of Louisiana, which they call Cerno Full House Supreme Council, which is the oldest Supreme Council in the United States. Because in turn, John G. Jones gave them a patent for the shrine. And that patent is still there. I mean, it is not like you can't deny it. I've actually seen it, and quite a few other people have actually seen this with their own eyes. Greetings, everybody who's coming in. I want to say thank you for popping in on me. I'm just going about this thing because I'm talking about Freemasonry in the sense of traveling. I'm talking about it in the sense of what you only get here in the United States. Here in the United States, you only get what you call Americanized Freemasonry through web ritualistic ceremonies. What I'm telling you is that there are different ceremonies within the framework of Freemasonry outside of the United States. And what we get a lot of times, we get so bogged down as if this is the only way to do it. And it is not the only way to do it. It is not. I know a whole lot of Masons talk like they know everything about everybody, about you're wrong. They talk that talk, but they've never traveled outside of the United States to actually see for themselves. They haven't booked a flight. They haven't gone to South America. They haven't gone to Brazil. They haven't gone to the continent. They haven't gone to Albania. They haven't done anything other than sit at home, get on the YouTube, get on TikTok, and do all this other stuff and tell other people they're wrong. And they've never experienced Masonry other than what they've gotten here. I'm here to share with you. I'm here to tell you, be it a sister of the order or a brother of the craft, that there's more to it. You have French rites and you have Scottish rites. I'm going to say that again. You have French rites and you have Scottish rites. And I know some of you are like, what? No, I got my inner apprentice, my fellow craft, and I'm a master mason. I've been raised from a dead level to a living perpendicular. I've done all of that. That's an Americanized Freemasonry that you've been practicing. That's what you've been practicing. What you need to do is actually go see something other than what's been always shown to you. Then your perspective, then you will broaden your horizon. Then you will be able to say, oh, okay, I get it now. You have a better comprehension of what's taking place in the framework of Freemasonry. Absolutely. If they don't recognize them, yeah, it may be wrong. But if they don't recognize it, it doesn't mean that it's wrong. They're just not familiar with it. It doesn't mean that it's wrong because I don't see it one way, because I don't recognize it, doesn't mean that it's wrong. I got one for you. I went to visit a lodge, and I was on point. I'm young, I'm on point, I'm fiery. I got the book down locked. So I go in and I would say, I'm gonna say, they say enter by 357, 357. Okay, I did that. I'm like, okay, cool. So I get there, I do what they ask. And then I get to the altar and I say, it's cloudy. Cloudy. And I've told this before. The senior deacon got up, he came, he checked. No, it's clear. The wishful master of the lodge said, Mr. Hawkins, Brother Tony, he said, do you see the compass and square? I said, I do. He says it in a position it's supposed to be in for the degree work. I said, I do. He said, well, what makes it cloudy? I said, it's not open on the correct scripture. He said, who told you that? I said, in my lodge? Oh, in your lodge. In your lodge. It's open on such and such. He's like, that's true. It is in your lodge. But here, once the Bible is open or the volume of sacred law is open, when that compass and square is laid upon that altar in a certain position, that tells you what we're working on. You need not to read the scriptures. I was like, oh, that was my very first lesson in traveling to somebody else's lodge. And I was like, oh, okay. And then when I went to visit another lodge, and I went in, and I'm like, okay. They did the same thing. I was like, hold on. I was like, well, in my jurisdiction, we got to open on this chapter for the first, this chapter for the second, that chapter for the third. They said there's nothing wrong with that. But that's not how we do it here, Brother Tony. Have a seat. And I did. So what I've learned is there's the different things that are happening within the framework of jurisdictions and grand lodges, but because you're so stagnant, because you don't get out and see, because you don't travel, you think that it's okay. And it is okay for where you're at, but it's bigger than that. So you don't get no place other than what you've already done. This is where you're at. Peace to you. What's going on? And I'm like, come on. So I was like, all right. Let me check this out. So in visiting another lodge, I was like, okay. Dude said, okay. The outside title was like, who's vouching for you? I was like, such and such is vouching for me. Is he here tonight? Yeah, he's here. All right. The title said, I can't let you in yet until you walk the sword or the sword. That's like, walk the sword. What? Do what? He's like, yeah, I can't let you, this is it. But I understood But that was the first time I was ever asked to do that. You see, when you come outside your box, when you come outside that bubble, and you begin to really circumvent and circumscribe yourself and understand the different points of my interest, the different way of entering a lodge and how others may do that, man, the Pandora box opens. You begin to crack the code. But if all you've done is going to do web, that's all you're going to do is American style of Freemasonry. Nah, it's not. I've been in lodges and watch how they move their hands and how they saluted and stuff like that. I'm like, oh, we don't do that. No, you don't do that. But we do. So who's to say that it's wrong? This is how it's done in this country. When you are here, you do it this way. I was like, oh, okay, all right. So that's the uniqueness of Freemasonry that a lot of us will never get, because we're so hell bent on destruction. We're so hell bent on it's my way or no way. We are so intertwined with someone else telling us this is how you do it, until you don't realize that there's a lot of things that are happening out here. A lot of things. Dress codes is another thing. I've gone and visited, and brothers got sashes on, and their aprons is a high blue. It's not the navy blue. It's another type of bluish, but that's representing their jurisdiction. And then when you go visit a brother who actually practiced Scottish Rite Freemasonry, their aprons are red. And it's not a red house, but that's actual Scottish Rite. So my aprons is trimmed in blue. So that's really York degree masonry, Webb degree masonry. See, what most of us have gotten ourselves into, it is one type fits all. And it's not like that. Masonry is interwoven. It is huge. It is worldwide. But your mentality has you stuck here in America. So everything that you learn, everything that you have, you put that on somebody else, and it doesn't fit the narrative. I remember when they used to say, Brother Tony, you can't travel. And then I went down south of the border, Tijuana, and they was like, oh, yeah, it's 15 miles from where I'm at. Drove, stopped, parked my car, walked across the border. Ooh. Oh, okay. Then they said, well, you can go there, but you can't go nowhere. So I popped up over in Albania. Oh. Then I went there, and then of course, you know, even though Jamaica, not Jamaica, what is that? The Bahamas, even though the Bahamas is really part of the United States in a sense, it's colonized per se. When I went there and visited, it was beautiful, man. I saw some stuff there, absolutely. Haiti has a strong influence on masonry on the islands. I'm gonna say this again. Haiti has a strong influence on Freemasonry on the islands. So I seen how they did a little work and how they was holding their hands, and I was like, oh. So every time I've gone somewhere, every time I've ventured outside of this narrative, I've learned, and I've been able to bring it back and share it with my jurisdiction and my Supreme Council, and be able to tell them, look, if you want to get this, if you want to travel, if you go. For us, there's nothing holding us back. All we got to do is make the call, write a letter, and we get invitations to grand sessions a lot. All you got to do is say, I'm coming. And you're welcome. That's it. The Grand Master doesn't have to give you permission to go travel to a Masonic jurisdiction when you have Masonic amity with them. I'm going to say that again. In this jurisdiction, I can't talk about nobody else right now. When you are invited to visit a Masonic lodge or Grand Lodge that we have amity with, you do not need permission from the Grand Lodge to go. You do not need permission from the Grand Master. You do not need permission from your wishful master to go. When the invite is there, anybody can go. Anybody can go. Once the invite has been sent to the Grand Lodge, in the open invitation. Anybody who wants to go can go. That's how we do it here. There is no like, well, you know, we have amity with you, but we can't sit and lodge with you. We would never, ever have amity with anyone, and we don't have full representation, and they don't have full representation. You might as well not even have it. And that's the uniqueness when you have these Masonic recognition with people. So in understanding all of that, and when I began to pull all of this together for me, and understanding the trajectory for which John G. Jones had the Supreme Council for the Southern and Western Masonic jurisdiction locked in on, I don't know how we got off that boat. I don't know where we got off from. We're supposed to be actually practicing craft degrees, 1, 2, and 3. From 1 to 33. That's what we're supposed to be practicing. Absolutely, I agree to that. Absolutely. From my reading and my understanding and from his own words, this is what we are supposed to be practicing. But somehow, somewhere along the road, that got switched. I don't know if it happened through the General Grand Masonic Congress. I don't know what happened. I do know this. In according to the minutes that I have, it was like it was after the death of John G. Jones that the General Grand Masonic Congress voted to use Leicester Look to the East as their official Masonic ritual. They did. It ain't no secret. I mean, it's documented. It's in the records, and I have the records. It says this is what they did, and it's okay. However, I personally employ every Masonic jurisdiction should have their own ritual that is uniquely for them. I'm going to say this again. Every Masonic jurisdiction should have their own Masonic ritual that is uniquely built for them. This is who they are. Because Webb says simple, hey, here it is. You can go buy this. You can go get Duncan's. Webb, you can go get Leicester's. You can go get Games of Life. You can go get Mahabone, the ritual. You can go get all these rituals. But when you have a ritual that is uniquely geared towards you Masonically, then it sets you apart. It does. That's what it does. It sets you. It says this is you. Absolutely, that's what it says. So, in what I've come to grasp with is that if you're going to call yourself Scottish Rite, ancient, free, and accepted Masons, that's what you need to be practicing. I'm gonna say this again. For those of us who are ancient, free, and accepted Masons, calling ourselves Scottish Rite, if that's what you're going to do, and that's what you're going to call yourself, that's what you're going to have to practice. Other than that, you're practicing York Rite Freemasonry in the beginning because you're not practicing the first craft degrees. You're not. Hold on just a second. I'm just trying to get caught up in some of these things that I'm reading. It says, greeting from Memphis. Been a while since I caught you live. I haven't been on live in a minute. It's almost been about 2 weeks. You teach it all the time. Grand Lodges are sovereign in the rule and governing of their own. Yeah, absolutely they are. Okay, I thought we did. Illuminati. So Jesus is the way. Come out of it. All right. Continue the good work. What about the York? The York is a web style of Freemason. It is a European guided side of Freemasonry. When I say European, I'm strictly speaking of America, period. Because outside of the borders of America, you will find in these Masonic Grand Lodges and lodges that you go visit that although it's going to be set up a little differently, the grip's going to be a little different. It's different. It is really that. It is really, really different. Brothers over the waters, they don't grip you like brothers here. I'm going to say that again. For those in the back row, come a little closer. Brothers over the pond, overseas, brothers, they don't grip like they grip here in the States. You go to South America, they don't grip like they grip here in the United States. They don't do that. And their initiations are definitely different than what you get here. And if you're practicing Scottish Rite, it's different. Now, the French Rite is something, it's another beast. It's another beast. Until you go see these different rites and practices and ceremonies for yourself, you're going to always have a small-minded view in regards to Freemasonry, because this isn't an experience. It's an experience. Just like every year, we do the raising in the desert. And just recently, we started doing the Shriners in the desert. We actually do Masonic work in the desert, right? So for about the past 4 years, every year between April, the last week in April, going into the first week of May, we usually do our raising in the desert or our Shriners in the desert, right? Now, we actually start like about maybe 3, 4 in the morning, usually about 3. When we're done with our initiation work for the Master Mason degree work, it's about 8 o'clock in the morning, and you're in the experience that you're going to have and that you've had is going to be different. So when you come up, the sun is peeking over the cliffs, over the mountain, and it's bright. And you're facing east, true east. That's the difference. A lot of people will never have that experience. So when the brother goes back and read the ritual, he can actually say he did that. He wasn't in a very nice carpet room or whatever. He actually was outside on a high hill, low valley. He actually did that. And that's the difference. That's a lot of things a lot of people will never get. You know, they won't ever get that. They'll talk about it. Oh man, I got raised. How was your raising? You know, it was air conditioning or heater, depends on the time of the year, nice room, everything flush. That's sweet. But when you actually have the experience and you can actually talk about it from the book, you can say, I experienced that. It's different. It's absolutely different. And that is indeed the beauty of it all. The differences in the rites and ceremonies that accumulates in Freemasonry, that brings it all together. But with our small mentality, with our small minded, the way we approach it is like, if they ain't get it from us, it ain't legit. If they ain't doing it the way I'm doing it, ain't right. That's a lie. That is a lie. And people need to stop putting what you do onto somebody else. Need to stop. Because what you do, what you need, I would implore you to go and start researching other Masonic Grand Lodges in their history. And let me tell you why I said that. Because you will find that although people and individuals may throw history at you, you will find that some of these Grand Lodges didn't start off so right. No. And then they'll tell you, well, that's the way it was in the beginning. That's how it was That's how it was just done that way. So you mean to tell me that those Grand Lodges that are still around from 1903 to 1912, 19 this, they are illegitimate or not or clandestine because of what? Because of what? So when you start to put all of this together, when you begin to bring that whole framework together, your mindset change. You don't see things as you've always seen them. And that is what Masonry does. It takes you down a path to change your mind, to renew it, so you can see something different other than what you've always seen, other than what you've always experienced. Freemasonry is an experience. It's not something you just do and then say, I'm good. It's so much more to that. It is just so much more to it. There's a lot of things that are happening within Freemasonry that a lot of us don't talk about, because we know if we talked about it, some of us will get kicked out of Masonry. Yeah, absolutely. And it's nothing bad. When I say, what I'm saying is that there's a lot of Zooming going on where brothers from various jurisdictions are actually having conversations. I mean that shit. And in the reason being is that they're having a conversation, but they ain't telling you. They're not telling you Modern Free International is having a conversation. They ain't telling you that Modern Free and Ancient Free has a relationship. They ain't telling you that PHO and PHA have Zoom. They ain't telling you. These brothers are doing this on their own. And they're not going to tell you, because they know how corrupt some of you can be, how ill that some of you can be, so these things don't come up. Absolutely. I have been in Zoom meetings with brothers who actually practice Scottish Rite Freemasonry and brothers who are part of PHAB in the Zoom. But they ain't telling you. And I'm not calling no names. But I'm just saying that because of what people may assume that they know. They may assume that this ain't happening. I'm telling you what's happening because I get an invite. Hey, Brother Tony, you want to join us for this Zoom? We got such and such. Oh, yeah, I'm in it. But I ain't going to try to out nobody. You know why? Because Masonry is beautiful, man. It's only ugly because of those who practice it in such a dogmatic way until they forget why they even became a Mason. They forget that it is in your heart. They forget what there's really are a part of. And what you go and do, you go and recruit somebody who's going to feel the same way you feel, who's going to see the things that you see the same way you see it. And no, I'm not going to do that. I don't want anybody to see it always the same way I see it. I want you to experience something different. I want you to be able to go to another Masonic jurisdiction outside and be like, oh, Brother Tony, they did this way. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's, but isn't that wrong? That's not wrong. That's how they do it. That's how they practice it. This is in their ritual. Look, I've gone into lodges and there are 4 pillars. 4 pillars. American lodges only have 2 pillars. So in going and I'm like, why you got 4 pillars? According to our rights and customs and the way we practice, there are 4 pillars, not just 2. See, you have a junior deacon and senior deacon. They got 2 guards sitting at the pillars when you come in. Oh, see, you ain't never seen that setup. That's wrong. That's not right. I dare you. No, I dare you. I dare you. Simple as that. So when I see these different things, I'm like, oh. So I ask why. See, I was visiting a Scottish Rite Lodge, and I'm sitting there watching them do their degree work. See, you have a junior deacon, senior deacon, they have an orator. Yeah. See, you be like, oh, senior deacon carries these orders, the senior deacon carries these orders. Okay. But they have an orator. Yeah, you got to see it to believe it. You got to see it. And you be like, we can't walk like that. We can't go that way. No, you can't. You can't go that way because you don't practice it that way. You can't do that because you don't practice it that way. Oh man, look. So there's so much more to that. So when you go and you visit, and let's say hypothetically you're visiting and they get ready to call you into the lodge, right? They call you into the lodge. I've gone. I have the orator in front of me. He gets the card. He announces who I am. This is Brother Past Grandmaster Brother Tony Hawk is in the most wishful John G. Jones, Grand Lodge, State of California. Ancient, free, and accepted Masons. Then he hits the rock. Boom. And I begin to follow the orator. When I get to a certain place, okay, and I get between my second set of pillars, the two guards at the pillar stands up. Put them two swords up over my head. I walk up under the arc of steel. You don't see that in American Masonry. Oh, that's wrong, man. That's wrong. No, it's wrong for you. That's all. It is. It is amazing. And that's the uniqueness that I enjoy about Masonry, because it is. You'd be like, wow, I don't do that in my lodge. But to see somebody else do it and it's done, you like, I likes that. I likes that, you know. And everybody got swords. So I've talked about my brother-in-law before. My brother is Haitian. He's from Haiti, okay, Haitian. And in his rites, he practiced French rites. Everybody got swords. I don't see that here in the States. That's not how we do it. But it's not wrong. Everybody in the lodge, the French had, well, he practiced French Freemasonry. Everybody has swords. And that's how they got down. I was like, oh, okay. So when you have these different interactions with brothers being from Haiti or brothers being from the islands, it's beautiful. And I'm gonna tell you something else, and I was mentioning this to you before too, is that the brothers who are mechanics, they're Freemasons, but they're mechanics. Their degree work is different, but the working tools are the same. If you've ever traveled the Virgin Islands and any of those islands, the mechanics are the ones. Oh, no. You, Prince Hall, P-H-O, Prince Hall origin, may have a lodge or two on the islands in Bahamas. Prince Hall, P-H-A, Prince Hall affiliation, they may have a lodge or two in the Bahamas on the island somewhere. But the mechanics, they're all over the islands. The mechanics are all over the island, bro. Their grips are a little bit different, but it's a grip. Their signs are a little bit, but it's a sign. You're able to see the signs. You know the grip. The words are a little bit different, but you know the words, and I love that. That's me. Because I like having the experience of visiting. I like having the experience of seeing something different other than what I'm always getting here. You're going to always get the rhetoric here. You're going to always get the same thing here. You're going to always sell dinner tickets here. You're going to always, I got to do a fundraiser here. Aren't you tired of fundraisers? Every time you look around, somebody in your pocket, you got to sell these turkeys. You got to sell these dinners. Aren't you tired of that? Don't you really want to just enjoy Masonry and go and get it and understand the esoteric and that's what you should want. But so many of us join lodges and grand lodges, and we get caught up in this circle, you know, this roller coaster, this spinning of the wheel. But there's a lot of things that are happening. A lot of things that happen. So going back to what I was saying earlier in regards to John G. Jones in the Cerno practice of the Scottish Rite, that's where that comes from. So you running out in your General Grand Masonic Congress and your Supreme Council doing all of that stuff, you are actually supposed to be practicing craft work. Ancient accepted Scottish Rite is your practice. John G. Jones said it himself, so I'm not going to argue with you in regards to that. If you tell me, oh yeah, I'm part of the Southern and Western Masonic jurisdiction, General Grand Masonic Congress, this and that, are you practicing Cernoism? Are you practicing that type of masonry? Because that's what Jones was practicing. That's what he believed. That's what he said. But I get it. We are here in the United States. So we try to fit in. Aren't you tired of trying to fit in? Aren't you tired of that? So, selling all of these, let's see, selling all of this Spanish French fries, there is so much more to Masonry than that. Absolutely. It is. It really is. And I would say over the past 15 years, as I began to explore and go more in depth and question and visit and build relationships with other Masonic bodies, it totally just blew me away. It did. It did. I would say my first experience for St. John's Day, I went to a St. John's Day celebration. It was not in a church. Most Black Masons, your St. John's Day is in church. Am I lying? Am I lying? Most St. John's Day practiced by Freemasons, Black Freemasons, your St. John's Day is in church. That's where your whole St. John's Day is. St. John the Baptist, St. John's the Evangelist. Well, I would tell you this. No, you aren't. You're telling the truth, brother. No, you aren't. Yeah. Okay. So with that being said, you know that most of us hold St. John's Day in church, wintertime and summertime. But when I went to visit my brothers, my kin from across the border, they did it totally different. They call it St. John's the Feast. St. John the Feast. And what they did, there was the winter solstice and the summer solstice. Okay? So in the wintertime, when they had the feast, they talked about why they did it. They talked about it. And I was like, oh, snap. So this is why we do this and that. They talked about it. They talked about the winter solstice to where you couldn't grow anything. So what they did was they all the lights are dim low. And then what they do is they had a bowl, and the bowl represented the harvest, that the crops that they had to burn. And I was like, wow. And you do. If you know anything about farming, that time of year they're tilting the soil and they're burning that which was left over. So they talked about that. And then afterwards, each officer gave a speech regarding it and what it meant. And then we had the feast. It was a long table. It was like medieval. It was a long table, and they had a few of them, and everybody sit at the table, and all the food was on the table. All the drinks was on the table. It was a feast. Nothing like my earlier phase in Freemason when I went to St. John's Day. Glory, glory, hey, hallelujah. Hey, we marching around this little light of mine. I mean, that's cool. But when you see something different, it goes like pow. That's what it does. Greetings, greetings, and welcome. That's what it does. It pow. You're like, oh, snaps. Okay. All right. So what we have done here, and I'm thankful for the brothers that when we went to visit and we seen this for ourselves, we say, hey, we got to do that. Because everybody in my lodge is not Christians. Everybody in my lodge, some of them are Muslims. So what we did was we said from here on out, we would celebrate St. John's, we would have a feast. We would not do that regular church service thing for St. John's Day, the Evangelist, and St. John's the Baptist. We're going to do it on a feast part, and we're going to talk about it. We're going to talk about the summer solstice and how the sun is at its meridian height, and we're going to talk about all of that. And it makes for more of a festive St. John's Day celebration, other than the preacher giving you a scripture. It removes that out of there. Yes, plant during the summer, and harvest for the winter was raised up. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. This is why we have the summer solstice and the winter solstice. This is why it's done that way. And then you learn that even in the upper houses, when you have your celebration, it's supposed to be held in the month of December. And you know, in the month of December, you have 3 days that the sun stood still. Oh, yeah. So you celebrate it as Christmas. But as you notice, right after Christmas, you see the sun stay up just a little while longer, just a little while longer, just a little while longer. You catch that. So when you have these different adventures, when you have these different experiences within the framework of Masonry, then you realize that it is truly universal. It's not just here in my local town, city, county, country. It's just not, it's universal. And a lot of people who talk about Masonry will never had that experience. They're too hell-bent on saying that you are wrong, that the way you practice it and the way you do this, and you can't go here. Man, you can go anywhere you want to go. When your lodge have amenity with another lodge or another Masonic jurisdiction, you can go wherever you want to go and travel and enjoy yourself. Don't be so closed off or closed-minded to someone else telling you something. Experience this for yourself. And that is the beauty of it all. The same applies to my sisters who are in the Eastern Star. The same applies to you. You have to be the one that go out and visit other chapters and watch and see. There's a thing in my grand chapter. I love to see it. And it has a cadence to it. And whenever we have grand chapter comes around, I want to see them always do this. But they say I can't record it, Brother Hoggy. I'm like, this, because what's going to happen is, if it's not something that you do all the time, it's pretty soon, it's going to be forgotten. And I think some of the practices that we do and the customs that we have, we've gotten away from them, and they're forgotten. They get forgotten, you know. And then you be like, man, I remember when we used, yeah, but we don't do it that way anymore. What? Why? It's the customs. Masonry has an ancient customs to it. And just because I practice it one way and you practice it one way doesn't mean that it's wrong. It is the ancient custom. It is those customs that you have adopted for your Grand Lodge, for your situation, for where you're at. But we get away from that. We have gotten away from it. Because if it ain't done like I'm doing it, then it's wrong. If you ain't recognized by who I'm recognized by, it ain't right. Y'all need to get up off that shit. Real talk. Hey, what's going on, sis? How you doing? You done popped in on me tonight. Check out the almanac. Absolutely. Check it out. But see, when we begin to understand how Freemasonry actually works and deals with the zodiacs. Oh yeah. See, when you are actually in the Scottish Rite degree work, the craft degree work, the actual Scottish Rite degree work, not the American style of Freemasonry, you're going to learn that it deals in astrology. It deals in the zodiac signs. It deals in that. But what happens to us a lot of times, we don't even read the works. Most of us would have never been initiated in the work. Who was obligated? Most of us wasn't initiated in the LOP, in the black the Knight of the East and West. Most of us were not initiated in these degrees. Most of us was not initiated in a Royal Arch degree on the Scottish Rite side. We wasn't. Most of us was obligated. Truth. Most of you were not initiated in the Knights of Malta or the Knights of Kadash. We was obligated. And when I first came in, that's what they was doing. When I first went into the Scottish Rite, American Scottish Rite, and I say that's what they was doing. You know, we went through some preliminaries and it was cool, but that's what they were doing. I'm a young buck and I'm just now getting, I mean, at that time, I've been in Masonry maybe 10, 13 years. Now I'm getting ready to go into the Scottish Rite, you know, the 4th to the 14th, and then from the 15th on up to the 18th and 19th, and then from there to the 30th. I'm getting ready to do that journey, or I'm getting ready to do the York Rite journey through the most excellent and super excellent, and then Royal Arch over there. I'm getting ready to pop that off and then go to the Cryptid and then to the Knights Temple. I mean, you know, but what I really like is that as brothers of the craft, my young brothers, as they began to come in and they was hungry, they was like, oh, we got to do initiation. And I'm on old head now. I'm like, what? No, Brother Tony, we got to do an initiation. Like, oh, okay. The most eminent Grand Master said, before you become a Knights of Temple, you got to do the Knights of Malta. You got to go through the knighthood before you get here. So now we are initiated in all of the knighthood. And then my brother, Darton, he's over the Lodge of Perfection. He said, no. Before you get to the LOP, you got to go through the Royal Arch on the Scottish Rite side. So we're going to start at the 4th degree and you're going to work all the way up. There will be no skipping to get to the top. As the Sovereign Grand Commander Esau E. Baxter once said, there will be no skipping to get to the top. So what the young brothers I started to see come in, they was like, no, we're going to do this. So now we're at a point to where you're going to get that work in. You're going to go through the rites and ceremonies. There will be no skipping to get to the top. So anybody that comes through the jurisdiction now can actually say, hey, I was actually initiated in this shit. I actually was initiated in this degree. I didn't get obligated. I got initiated in the Royal Arch degree on the Scottish Rite side. I got initiated in the 4th degree going up to the 13th degree. I just didn't take an obligation. Because what we're trying to do, we're trying to get on the path that was originally laid down for us. I'm going to say that again. And I'm only speaking for where I'm at right now. We are getting on the path that was originally laid down for us. So as I went back into the archives and I began to pull up these documents, this is where we were supposed to be at. This is where we're supposed to be at. Absolutely. But hey, you know, it is where it's at. God, greetings, Brother Muhammad, and to all coming on. What's up, Larry? How you doing there? Man, it's been a minute. Thank you. Please hit the like button. Absolutely. Yeah. It's a beautiful thing. And so, Brother Larry Diamond, you got to travel with me, bro. You got to go with me, man. You got to go. Brother Diamond, you're gonna have to catch a plane with me, man. All you need is 5 days. 5 days, bro. Come on, go with me. I'm already locked in. You got to give me a call, bro. You got to give me a call. I'm already locked in. Let's see what we got here. Christopher Jackson, great to see you. Hey, what's going on? Chris is in the chat. That's great, man. That's another, bro. Let me speak on Brother Chris, since he's in the chat. And if I had another line, I'll tell him to call in. But I watched his live that he did the other day, and my hat is off to him. Absolutely. And I'm going to leave it at that. My hat is off to him. You know, I know a lot of people said a lot of things, and they have even questioned me. But I am who I am. And I'm going to leave it at that. So greetings to everybody who's in the chat. I'm glad to have you in. Brother Diamond, glad to have you. Oh, Brother Diamond, we will be back in Vegas for our grand session the 17th, 18th of October, 17th to 18th, the 9th of October. We will have our grand session in Las Vegas. You got to give me a call up. Come on through, hang out with us. We're going to be at the Masonic Hall in Las Vegas off of I can't even think of the name of it. I think it's in West Vegas. We're going to be in West Vegas. But if you hit me up, I'll make sure you get the information. Past, present, and future. What's going on with your great author to read, recommend brothers and sisters and brothers called Oh, okay. Called Jerry Macy. He has a book called Egyptian and Light of the World. Okay. Yep. But yeah, so certainly, look, I personally want to say, and thanks to everybody who's popped in the idea that a lot of people don't know all you practices the American style of Freemason. You never get the experience to see what it is. There's only a few Black Masons that are of the family of the ancient free and accepted Masons that have ever traveled outside of the country to visit other lodges. It's only a few of us. I'm going to be totally honest. Everybody don't do the trip. Only a few have actually done the trip. And that's the truth. Only a few. And it's okay. I want you to have that experience. So I'm sharing with you what I've come across, and what I've discovered is that I'm going to share this again. What I've discovered is that John G. Jones, the man himself, practiced Cernoism. Go look up Joseph Cerno. They practiced that type of Scottish Rite Masonry, 1 through 33. He himself said he did. He himself said that he believed and he knew that a Supreme Council had the authority to organize lodges and to charter lodges and grand lodges. He himself said that. So my thing is that if we're going to do it, do it. If you're going to practice and be that, be it. Plain and simple. If you're going to tell me you ancient free and accepted rites and you Scottish Rite Mason, because a lot of us say that, are you practicing that? Are you putting that out there? Is that what you're doing? Oh, you know what? Look, this was a gift. This was a gift. Man, yeah. I like this. I like this. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Absolutely, that's what I'm talking about. You know, but anyway, so let's see. Brother Tony, I would like to visit your lodge one day. Look, if you want to do that, you're going to have to catch me. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you because I'm not the one to be still. I'm just saying, if you want to shoot through, whether from in LA or San Diego, you're going to have to inbox me some type of way and let me know if you're going to be on the West Coast, and then you can do that. That's just the way it is. Hey, yeah, huh, sis? That's pretty nice, ain't it? Yo, yeah, that's pretty nice. But that's what you're going to have to do, man. You're going to have to hit me up. You got to be a month or so in advance. Yeah, so to hit me up, and yeah, you're going to have to do it that way. Absolutely that way. Let's see what else I got tonight. So if you're just joining us tonight, so our conversation have been in regards to Cerno, Joseph Cerno. It has been in regards to the ancient and accepted Scottish Rite craft degree work. We have talked about the York degree work, what we would call American style of Freemasonry. You know, and I would say this. I remember a brother, I'm not going to call no name, but he had a doctorate in Freemasonry. And a lot of people say, how did you get a doctorate in Freemasonry? You can get a doctorate in Freemasonry. It is not like if you go to college to get it. It is earned by the degrees and by the knowledge and some other stuff that goes into that. It's the study of Freemasonry. You can get it. There are uh, 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 I just don't want to say grand lodges, but there are jurisdictions that give out that awards. It's true. I mean, it is what it is. Just because you don't give it out, don't say it ain't nobody else doing it, or nobody else is giving it out when they actually do. So I've seen a variety of different awards that is given to people, and they'd be like, "Well, we don't give out that awards." No, we don't give out the what is his name? What is his name for the Scottish Rite? He wrote the book Mars and Dogma. I can't even think of his name. It escapes me right now. Ah, shucks. What is his name? Oh man, let me catch up. Albert Pike. Thank you. I appreciate it. So we don't give out an Albert Pike Award, but there are jurisdictions that do. Okay, we give out a John G. Jones Award. We'll do that, but we don't do Albert Pike. You know, we'll give out Master Mason of the Year awards in name of the first wish for master of a particular lodge or something like that. But you know, every Grand Lodge have special awards that they give, and that's okay. It means something for them. It really does. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. You just got to stop locking yourself in a box. Come out the damn box. Get outside and see something other than what you've always seen. Do something different than what you've always done. And I'm gonna tell you a story. This is crazy. And it's not really crazy, but years ago, I want to say about maybe 8-9 years ago, me and Chris Jackson, we was in Atlanta. We was in Atlanta. Man, we had a beautiful time. I flew into Atlanta. I didn't have a room. I didn't have a room. I called Chris up, and I ain't gonna call the other gentleman at the time that was there in Atlanta with us, but Chris had a room, and I said, "Man, I need a place to stay. I'm only gonna be here for 2 days." He's like, "Hey, bro, come on, hey, give him a room. You cop a squat." Chris did that for me, and I don't mind telling nobody about it. Absolutely. So when you have brothers like that, they good. I know what people can say, and I'm cool with whatever somebody say, but you know what? It's all right. It's all right. I can speak on it, and I don't mind. You say I'm out the box. Well, yeah, absolutely. You know, so I say that because in life, you're never gonna know. You're never gonna know. But when you know that you have come across people who have done right by you, when you know that you have been able to circumvent and to assist or to aid, when you know that you've done the things that was called upon you to do, when you know, you ain't got to trip. You ain't got to trip. You don't have to trip. Absolutely, you don't. And that's the beauty of it all. Absolutely, that's the beauty. I know that brothers have their issues. I know that sisters have their issues. I know that grand lodges have split and did this. And you know what? It happens. It happens. And I know how people may feel about certain things. And look, we're on borrowed time. We're on borrowed time. And I'm here to enjoy all I can and to get all I can out of this thing. And along the way to assist and to aid the poor, distressed widows and orphans, and to see about those who want to be seen about, and to assist those who don't mind receiving assistance and being able to move forward. That's me. But to get up and to get caught up in some unnecessary stuff without understanding what the craft is all about, what I'm part of, nah, we got to get away from that. We have to be able to dial that shit back and begin to enjoy everything that the craft has to offer. And the craft has a lot to offer. the craft has a lot to offer. We'll get there one day. We'll get there. We will absolutely get there. But definitely, if you go into the Washington Bee newspaper, 1896, okay, there's an article, and it's going to have John G. Jones. It's an article in regards to John G. Jones and his belief in regards to the Supreme Council. And it's a letter that it was like he was being interviewed, and he gave his perspective on the Supreme Council. That's why I found it at. It's an article, Washington Bee, 1896. You can look it up for yourself, and you will see it for yourself where he makes his statement in regards to the ancient accepted Scottish Rite Freemasonry. And from there, from out of his mouth, my belief is that is what we're supposed to be practicing. If you don't think so, I'm okay with that. But based upon what I've read, I'm going to run with that until I find something else that's going to enhance that, that's going to lay a foundation on it. But right now, the foundation that I've found is that's the work. That's the work. Yeah, it is. Time is plausible. Absolutely. Retiring from the railroad in 2 months. I tell you what you do. If you hit me up, I'm going to give you my phone number. I'm going to put my number out here. You're going to hit me up. You're going to hit me up at 858-707-5582. The brother that's retiring from the railroad, you got to hit me up. I'll send you something. I'll do it. But look, I'm going to tell you, if you don't do it, man, it'll go past me. I'm telling you the truth. For those who I owe stuff to, that I was going to send some stuff 2 months ago. If it ain't there like right away, it don't register. I'm going to be totally honest with you. It's like, woof. I'm on the West Coast. You need to stop, sis. Oh my God, you need to stop. Oh, y'all killing me with that. Oh my God, sis. Oh, I don't know what I'm gonna do with you. Thank you, Brother Larry Diamond. 858-707-5582. You can text or call me. But hey, hit me up. Just hit me up, and I'll send you some. And definitely, brother. Big shout out to Brother Art 357. He's usually in here, and I usually hit him up every now and then. Yeah, you yeah, you got that laugh out of me. I ain't gonna kid you. You got that laugh out of me. So look, I want to thank everybody for coming on. And I know a lot of people got a lot of questions about a lot of different things. And we're going to get that work in. Brother Chris, if you're up and you're still in the chat, give me a call, or I'll give you a call. Either way, if you're up, just let me know. And we'll go from there if you want to. If you want, if that's cool with you. Wait, they let Jackson be. What do you mean they let him be a Mason? What do you mean they let him be a Mason? The man is. Nobody let him be anything. So, and that's another thing, they let him be. Can nobody let you be anything when you already that? Where y'all get this from? Whatever happens in his Masonic journey, that happens with his Grand Lodge. That's what his Grand Lodge. You can't take nothing from somebody who already earned it and have it. You can't take it. I'm just saying. Absolutely. So look, bro, you got to hit me up. You got to do that. So I'm going to cut it off, and I'm going to kick it over to TikTok for a little while. I got some time tonight. It's about 9:20. I got some time now. I'm gonna go play on TikTok for a little while. So look, hey, everybody, whatever you do, stay out the bushes, keep your light on, and we're gonna get it in. Yeah, I'm gonna flip over. I'm gonna go hang out on TikTok for a little while, see what's popping off over there. I'm gonna have a little of this same type of conversation and see what's gonna happen. I'm gonna see what's gonna happen. So until next time, peace and be well. Whatever you do, stay out the bushes, keep your light on. I hope that you've gotten something out of this conversation. Until next time, peace. I'm out.